All right, so just one more time for everybody, please make sure to select the channel under interpretation at the bottom of your screen for either English or Spanish, and then we'll get started. All right, and I will let you take over, Sophie. And we also have the live transcription if you would like. This is also located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So if you'd like to see captions, feel free to click that setting under Show Subtitles. And if you need any assistance with technical issues, we have a phone number here that will also be put into the chat. Feel free to call if you need any help during the meeting. Okay, well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got a packed agenda. This is our first community open house virtual for the Brentwood Boulevard and the downtown Brentwood specific plan updates. We will be providing an overview of both specific plans and then breaking up the presentation into two parts. The first will be on downtown Brentwood and the second on Brentwood Boulevard. We are aiming to end by 8:30 p.m. tonight. For those that would like to ask additional questions, we can stay on for a bit longer. So you're welcome to stay on till about 9. If you can't stay past 8:30, you can always email any questions or comments to planupdates@brentwoodca.gov. That will be in the chat shortly so that you can always use that for questions. This is going to be an interactive presentation. We're going to be using Poll Everywhere, which is a website that you can access from your laptop or your phone. And it will pop up on the screen, so you'll be able to navigate to that link. We will also have 2 breakout room discussions to hear from you and get your feedback. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to talk amongst us and ask questions. We'll also be having 2 raffle prizes, so stick around to the end and see who wins. It'll be randomly generated. We ask that you hold questions until the breakout room discussions, and I'm just going to get going with the presentation. For tonight, our outcomes are for all of you to understand where we've come from and where we are headed with both specific plan updates, to hear from you all and learn what you like and what needs to change, and for our team to gather feedback and develop the best possible plan updates. So tonight is about input. No decisions are going to be made. And just some quick ground rules for us to remember during our discussion is to share the space. So please give us your thoughts, but also make sure that you are giving others a chance to speak. This is a discussion and not a debate, and all questions are good ones. And let's just challenge ourselves to be open to new ideas. So I'd like to start off with just a brief overview of what is a specific plan. This is a guiding document that provides a vision and a framework for the future. That includes land uses, open space and parks, circulation, infrastructure, and it's focused on a smaller, more specific area as opposed to the general plan, which is the entire city. It includes design standards and guidelines. It helps streamline environmental review and provides more clarity for developers. Next slide, please. So here is our specific plan update process for both plans. So they're on the same timeline on parallel paths. And to date, we have held 2 focused stakeholder meetings and 1 meeting with the Youth Commission in the spring. We're now in the summer, where that orange arrow is, and having our virtual open house to get feedback from all of you about our draft development scenarios. We'll also be holding or having a Planning Commission and City Council joint study later this month to get additional input and to let them know what we've heard so far from the community. And afterwards, we'll go to work, make revisions, try to get this preferred scenario for both plans as close as we can and present the draft to you all for additional feedback, an online survey, and later in the fall. And next year, we will go back to the Planning Commission and City Council for finalizing both updates. Now for a little history, we'll start with the downtown Brentwood specific plan. It was first prepared in 2005, and it's had some minor changes here and there through the years, and we are now in the process of updating it through the year 2035. Now, the history of Brentwood Boulevard also dates back to the early 2000s. This was when the city was looking to get more guidance on land use decisions in anticipation of the state route bypass being completed and Caltrans relinquishing Brentwood Boulevard to the city. And this process went through some starting and some stopping, but was eventually completed in 2012. And we will be looking ahead again to 2035 for this current update. So tonight, your participation matters a great deal. You all are the experts of your community. You know firsthand about what is working or is not working. So in order for these plans to be successful, we need to hear from you and come together to find a shared vision for both plans. All right, so we're gonna start with downtown and go through a couple polls just to get some feedback from you all. So here is the website link that you will need to navigate to either on your phone or on your desktop or tablet. It's pollev.com/up partners. And I'm just going to put that in the chat as well, or someone else can do that for me. That would be great. We'll give everyone a minute to navigate to that site, and then we'll be asking you questions throughout the evening and show some real-time feedback. So our first question is, write one word that comes to mind when you think about downtown Brentwood. And we will be creating a word cloud here. So we'll just give everyone a minute to just write the word that comes to your mind, something you like about downtown, something you don't like. See if there's any similar words that come out here. Awesome, lively, friendly. Nice, charming, quaint, stuffy, crowded and outdated, quaint. This is great. It's really interesting to see kind of where everyone goes with these word clouds. All right, couple more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay, well, thank you all. This is just to start to get the juices flowing for our next part of this presentation and discussion.
Okay, in the 2005 vision for the downtown specific plan, it was described as downtown is a one-of-a-kind city district that is a center for civic life, community events, shopping and entertainment, and a place of residence. So while many aspects of this vision have come to fruition, there are still opportunities to increase downtown's vibrancy and encourage more retail, entertainment, and housing. Now here is a map showing the existing versus proposed downtown area. Part of this update involves reducing the size of the planned area and focusing on the core piece of downtown. So the purple shading shows the area of change, and the new area for this specific plan is outlined with a black dashed line. During our stakeholder outreach, some of the things that we heard there was a desire for included more specialty businesses that encourage people to stay in downtown, smaller businesses and no large chains or corporations, more mixed-use development, more art and murals, lighting, potted plants, landscaping, and cleaner streets. So we'll be looking at some draft scenarios after this. Just keep in mind they are high-level concepts and they will not result in the removal of any existing businesses or residences. Here is our draft scenario 1, which extends retail along First Street. This first scenario focuses on extending retail along First Street and Oak Street. This is shown in that bright orange strip labeled as active building frontage in the legend. And for this scenario, there are more opportunities for housing and mixed-use development beyond the core downtown area. And here is the draft scenario 2. This includes extending ground floor retail along 2nd Street and Brentwood Boulevard beyond the main core. But there are fewer changes in this scenario to the existing land use pattern. And now we are looking at scenarios 1 and 2 side by side. You can see again with the draft scenario 1 that the focus is on extending ground floor retail along First Street and greater mixed use opportunities beyond that downtown core between Maple and Pine Streets. Whereas draft scenario 2 focuses more on ground floor retail along 2nd Street and Brentwood Boulevard with more opportunities for mixed use development in that downtown core area. All right, and now in preparation for our breakout group discussions, please raise your hand now if you'd like to be in the Spanish language breakout group. And so that way we can put you into the correct breakout group once we finish up our survey after this. And again, if you're calling in from a phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Okay, now it's time for our visual preference survey for downtown. Before we split into breakout groups, we're going to be taking a look at some different types of development. And to be clear, a visual preference survey helps us better understand what type of building designs you all prefer. So these are just examples, there's no right answer. Now, this is just some instructions for getting you to the poll. Please go to pollev.com/UPP ARTNERS. That's UP Partners. And you can access this from your phone, your tablet, or through the web. Great. All right, so we're just going to take a minute to pop that up on the screen. Our first question is to rank your preferred mixed-use building designs for downtown Brentwood. And a 1 just means that you love it, the top, and a 4 is you would prefer to not see it here, and that would be more towards the bottom. So you can think about when looking at these images, the scale, the number of stories in height, how far back the building is from the street, different roof lines and different materials. All right, and now we're looking at the scores. Are still changing as votes are coming in. Give everyone a minute here to make their choices. Okay. It looks like right now we have an image from downtown Pleasanton that's at the top. Oh, and it looks like a different one is now coming. All right, some back and forth there. Give you all just a couple more seconds to make your final votes. Very interesting to see how everyone is selecting. Great. All right, let us move on to our next question. Oh, still a few changes. All right, question number 2 is rank your preferred multifamily building designs for downtown Brentwood. So again, there's 4 different options here to choose from. We've got more modern look and feel with the first option. Got some townhouses. Option D, there's a bit more height there. Okay, so now everyone start your voting and we will see where these images land. Okay, we have that more modern building currently in the leading. Okay, for question number 3, we have rank your preferred commercial building designs for downtown Brentwood. And we have images showing more parking oriented in the front with a shopping center. We also have more open kind of pedestrian friendly designs. We've got designs showing storefronts closer to the streets. So let's see where everyone is thinking they prefer to see downtown. All right. Looks like an image from San Luis Obispo is currently in the leading. That one has the more open plaza between the 2 storefronts. And both of these first 2 options are, looks like, between 1 and 2 stories in height. All right. Well, now we are ready for our breakout group discussion. As mentioned, please raise your hand if you'd like to be in a Spanish only breakout group. We're looking forward to hearing more of your thoughts.
All right, so let's start off with our share outs. I'm going to go to Lynette's share out leader for her group.
Peter will be sharing out.
Okay.
And please do try to keep these to just 1 minute, you guys, since we're a little bit behind.
Peter, are you there?
I can hear Peter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
The Brentwood Boulevard. We did have a question of retail office or more restaurants. I believe it was Carol who did mention, had a really good point, in my opinion, about the flexible zoning restrictions due to the changing of economics over the years. We did discuss that. There was parking issues discussed as well. I believe that could be discussed a little bit in more detail. And also, I've heard this quite a bit, trying to be like Livermore, Pleasanton, etc. Some of the comments that were made is Brentwood is low key, and it's a very comfortable feel to a lot of people. But those are the notes that I have. So
Thank
thank
you. Perfect. All right. Let's have Alexis do a share out from our group.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you.
So quickly, I know we're behind schedule. We had a question about whether we should add more housing downtown. And those who answered said no, due to parking issues and the need for more transit. We had a discussion about the visual preference slides and whether or not the feeling was they may have been too modern. And there's an interest in keeping the historic buildings downtown, the historic look and feel of the existing downtown. And to keep that in mind with whatever we do downtown going forward. Cities like Carmel, Half Moon Bay, I think it was Northampton, Massachusetts were mentioned as good models for the kind of feel downtown. People said they come downtown most often for the restaurants, the farmers market, and they like the walkability of downtown. And I think that's the headlines in a nutshell, unless I'm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Sophie's group?
And Vicky, sorry, I didn't prepare our group super well. We got super excited about just diving in. So Vicky, if you can just give a quick overview, that'd be great.
Yeah, no problem. We're just discussing our downtown area, just some of the things that we saw that might be a problem if we do bring more housing. The parking was an issue. Then we did talk about some things that we'd like to see downtown to make it a little more walkable, stable for families to come and stay for hours rather than just pick up a to-go order. And that's just creating more space. Can you guys hear me? Okay, creating more opportunities for the downtown area to be closed off more, whether that's with parklets, closing off some of the smaller portions of the alleys directly in downtown to create some public seating areas, table and seating areas. We also talked about the type of businesses that come in downtown, more of the artsy type of things, more eclectic things to bring that culture that we would love to see downtown. And then my final note on that is I do also hear a lot of people talk about, I own a business downtown, and I do also hear a lot of people talk about how we should be more like Martinez and Livermore. And my thing is, let's have people talk about how we're going to be like Brentwood. I would love to see some amazing things come out of here that are so unique that people are talking about Brentwood and how we need to be more like Brentwood. So that's my final
Love
thought.
that. Thank you. That was awesome, y'all. Thanks so much. Okay, we're going to do a quick raffle. I'm announcing our 3 winners. So we have Cinzy, Jovita, and Carol as our 3 winners. Alyssa will be reaching out to you directly to coordinate your prize, which are the Better in Brentwood apron and wine glasses and a Better in Brentwood sweatshirt. So congratulations and thanks for joining us. Yeah, we'll have one more raffle at the end of this. So let's move on to Brentwood Boulevard specific plan. Okay, next slide, please. To start us off, part of this update, we are looking at expanding the existing Brentwood Boulevard specific plan area into that purple part. So all the way, right now it stops at 2nd Street, but it would extend down all the way to the southernmost limits of the city. And part of that is just to keep that consistency of the entire corridor.
So the 2012 specific plan vision for Brentwood Boulevard was to transform the existing auto-oriented corridor into a more traditional boulevard with distinctive, unique front-facing buildings. And just to kind of show what we mean by auto-oriented versus more traditional pedestrian-oriented, we have this next slide that kind of shows images from Brentwood in the two different areas here. So on the left, auto-oriented, you can see there's larger parking lots, less active street frontage, versus the right, which has more larger sidewalks, areas for people to walk, active street frontage, etc. So that's just some visuals for everyone to keep in mind. We're going to be doing a couple more word clouds similar to the downtown Brentwood. So you'll want to once again go to that same link, pollev.com/partners, and we'd like to hear one word that describes what you like the most about Brentwood Boulevard. So feel free to start adding your one word of one thing you like the most. Okay, housing. Nothing. Yes, all right. Nice auto body shops. It's fast. The growth. History, nothing again. Okay. Some room for improvement. Okay, give everyone a few more seconds and we're gonna ask one more question after this. Old, I'm seeing, empty land, businesses, possibilities. An artery, good. Okay, this is great. And our next question is going to be what you like the least about Brentwood Boulevard. So again, this is to get the juices flowing. The speeding. Crime. Rundown, yes, okay. Ugly and crime. Okay, speeding and rundown. Unprotected. Okay, so we're seeing some common themes here. I'm going to move us along to our next portion. So we've talked with a few stakeholders as well as the Youth Commission, and some of the themes that we heard are that Brentwood Boulevard has great potential for different types of development, including light industrial, agricultural, tourism, but there is a lack of consistency and not a feeling of a sense of place. There's safety issues that people have brought up related to pedestrian and cyclists. And the Youth Commission also specifically wanted more places to go and stay and fewer drive-throughs. So those were just some of the feedback that we've heard. We're looking for more. So the next slide, we're going to go into our first proposed draft development scenario. So this one is called neighborhood nodes. And I think of nodes as clusters of activity. So we're proposing 4 different clusters to have in kind of equal spacing down Brentwood Boulevard with a mix of uses at each and accessible gathering places. Each one will have a distinct character and they will link to the surrounding neighborhoods with different bike and pedestrian paths. And there's a similar level of development intensity that we're posing at each one of these nodes. So this is the first one. We're going to look at one more and then the 2 side by side. This draft scenario is called the gateway nodes. And the focus here is on creating 2 distinct gateway nodes towards the top part and the bottom part. So node 1 and then node 4 closest to downtown to reinforce the agricultural identity and history of Brentwood, which we've heard time and time again from the community. So we want that to be a part of this. And for here, we would be facilitating higher intensity development near downtown. So at that bottom most southern portion. Again, there would be enhanced connections to the surrounding neighborhoods at those key intersections. And the next slide, again, will show us, okay, so we're gonna actually first go into each one of these nodes because they each have sort of a different theme that we just, came up with after hearing from some stakeholders, and we will find out from you all what you think about them, if you like them or if you don't. So the first one is the Agrihood neighborhood. And this was envisioned as somewhat lower density residential area, community gardens that could potentially support local restaurants. It could also include the agricultural tourism and tasting rooms that we heard from a couple folks, as well as some light industrial possibly. So that's node 1. Node 2 is our quick service restaurant and recreation theme. It's more of a destination. It would tie into the nearby Marsh Creek Trail system and act as a community gathering place. And there could be some type of quick service restaurant there. That's something we want to talk with you all about to see if that's of interest. And there could also be some residential mid-rise development like townhomes potentially proposed here. So these are just images that kind of help you think about where we're going with it. They're not exact, they're just examples. Node 3 is what we're calling the work hub. There's more of a commercial focus here, possibly renovating existing buildings to have a more active street frontage, as well as improvements to the pedestrian access from the surrounding neighborhoods. And then our last node 4 is the residential mixed use gateway. And this is envisioned as a key transition or gateway zone before arriving to downtown. There could be infill development here, as well as more, again, pedestrian friendly improvements. And this is coming from what we were hearing from folks saying that safety was an issue. So these are just some images to think about. And the next slide will look at the two side by side so you can, again, kind of compare and contrast. The first one, the nodes are more equally spread out across the boulevard with about equal level development intensity. Both of these have the same types of nodes, 4 nodes. But the draft scenario 2, we're looking at a higher level of intensity closer to downtown, the southernmost part of the boulevard shown here. Okay, so we're also going to do a visual preference survey for Brentwood Boulevard. So get ready, get your links up and ready to go. I know you're all pros by now at this, but it's pollev.com/partners.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. We like the enthusiasm. Okay. For the first question, we are asking everyone to think about your highest priority for street improvements along Brentwood Boulevard. So ranking those, top to bottom. We've got protected bike lanes, trees, street amenities, traffic calming, lighting, and wider sidewalks. And we'll go to the next slide that shows in real time where we're thinking as a group. Okay, so far trees and landscape being at the top, traffic calming as well. All right. Give us all about 10 more seconds or so. This is again something we can talk about in our breakout groups. Awesome. Okay, so the second question, we are going to focus on the design for commercial buildings that you prefer. So again, there's a few more options here just because we had a lot of different ones we were brainstorming as a group, and we want to hear from you which of any of these you like. There's different height variation here. Definitely different types of uses. There's grocery store, there's more retail, there's restaurants, also more office. And then let's go to the next slide and see where
Are we ranking the second answer as well, or how does it work?
yes, we want
Okay.
to, yeah. Thank you. So it's a little bit small on this screen, but hopefully you all can see on your phones or tablets.
Carla, can you flip back to the other one just for a minute, just
Sure.
so I can see the images again, in case they can't see them?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And then flip back.
Okay. All right.
So what's the top one?
It's like the top one, if we go back to that screen, was A. So it was the 2-story kind of corner. Can you go up one more slide if it's letting you? There we go. Yes. Thank you. More.
Looks like the second one was E, which is an adaptive remodel and modernization of a small commercial center in Danville. And then what was the third?
C. And that is that the Lenardi's in Danville?
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. And what was the last one? Lowest.
Looks like the round table kind of with the parking in front.
Okay. All right. So no. Okay. So.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Our next question is focused on mixed use building designs. We've got 4 different options for this one, and we're going to be again ranking them. The top would be your favorite. The bottom would be prefer not to see.
Go back to the other one. I haven't voted yet.
Thank you. Yeah, let us know. We'll go back to see the larger images here.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got about 2 stories to 5 stories. Some are closer to the street than others. It's looking like that top one is the moment.
Yeah.
The most popular, and there's a lot of variation and articulation in those designs, different types of roof lines, versus at the bottom it's kind of more flat at the top and flat against the building. Great.
Then the third one down, is that perhaps Walnut Creek?
The third one down.
Yeah.
B, we can find out. I'm
That's
not
okay.
sure.
I was just
That one's
curious.
That one's in Healdsburg, actually.
Healdsburg. Interesting. Okay.
Healdsburg. Oh yeah, I get those 2 cities mixed up. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's Hotel Hillsburg.
Okay.
Okay. Our next question is rank the following quick service restaurant and retail designs. So we have some different types again here, more flexible kind of container space versus outdoor kind of beer garden or indoor public market, and also our classic Taco Bell drive-through. So
We don't want that.
oh,
No Taco Bell.
not Taco Bell.
She's right.
Okay.
We have such amazing Mexican food in Brentwood that like, let's not do that.
Definitely can appreciate that. Okay, so we've got the indoor public market at the top right now, and below that is the beer garden in San Mateo. Is everyone still able to vote? The link is working okay? I heard that it may not be found. All right.
let's go to our, I think it's our final question after this. Yes. So rank the following parks and open space types in order of your preference. So here we've got a few different options, like a sports field, soccer, or more focused on a trail connection. And D, B has more picnic area space. A, we've got the playground. And so what would you like to see along Brentwood Boulevard if you had to rank these?
These are supposed to be along the boulevard?
Yes, it doesn't have to be right against the street necessarily, but we've heard that there is a need for more open space closer, like within the Brentwood Boulevard specific plan area. So we're just trying to think of what types would folks like to see. All right, so picnic area so far is at the top, and then we've got the playground, then the Marsh Creek Trail, and then the soccer field at the bottom. Great. And we can talk again more about these, but we are going to head into our second and final breakout group discussion. And we will be pulling up these slides again for you all to discuss. And please raise your hand again if you need to be in the Spanish interpretation group. For anyone new that is joining us. Yeah, so it'll take us just a second to group everyone appropriately, but I think we might be in the same groups again. Hi, and welcome back. Please make sure to click on the translation interpretation button at the bottom again so that you can be placed in the English or Spanish group. Hopefully that is less of an issue this time.
Can you guys hear me in English now?
Yes.
Okay, I will check in Spanish. I don't know what happened before, but
it's okay. If it's working now, great.
We are all learning.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I think while people do that, Carla, I'll go ahead and just give a quick debrief for our group, just since we are short on time.
Yes.
There was a lot of discussion between the two alternatives. I think ultimately, in the end, there was broader support for the first one with more cohesiveness throughout the corridor. Lots of concern over traffic and just also the speed of vehicles and the safety. And if there's more residential in the area, there's concern around that. Would like to see some opportunity for light industrial uses, potentially in the northern part. But just really people that live in the community, shop in the community, that they kind of feel a they're there. Those are my words, not the group's word. When they're on, when they're visiting the Brentwood corridor. And I think that sums it up. Oh, a lot cleaner, and they really like the Sand Creek development.
Thank you. Okay, from our group, we have Alexis again. Thank you.
Thank you. Quickly, there was some discussion about Node 1 and some confusion about what the Agrihood concept was really trying to accomplish, since there's so much agriculture around the outskirts of Brentwood, and agriculture has not traditionally been allowed within our city limits. There was a suggestion that Node 1 might be better served by some of the ideas in Node 2 with the quick service type restaurants and food to bring more vitality to Node 1. There were some questions about what's happening in the plan in the areas outside of the nodes, and how those will be incorporated and addressed in the plan. There was a discussion of if we had an ideas of how the zoning would change, and the responses were not quite there yet. We're still in the conceptual stage. There's a concern about adding more residential along the boulevard than is already there because of traffic and transportation issues, and maybe encouraging more mixed uses instead of just more residential. There's a discussion that there's plenty of housing in Brentwood and we need to increase businesses that can raise revenue for the city. Some question about how the work hub would work in Node 3 due to how the type of development that's already underway there. And a discussion about the types of uses that are there and showing up on Brentwood Boulevard, some disappointment in grocery, not to name names, but grocery outlets and Denny's and drive-throughs and car washes, and just seeing how we can address that going forward. There was a positive response to scenario 2 and having less density at the northern end and more density at the southern end.
Great. Thank you, Alexis. And how about for group 3?
Awesome. I'll just hop in here really quick because we're short on time. We had an interesting discussion about how we can balance the success of businesses on Brentwood Boulevard if we're also focusing a lot of attention on downtown, and just thinking about how we balance incoming people and housing with new amenities without it competing, again, with downtown businesses and success and ideas there. But also a lot of momentum and interest in creating sort of flexible pop-up spaces that sort of tie to a bunch of local and specifically women-owned food trucks in Brentwood, which is really exciting. There's a bunch more that we'll capture in our notes, so I'll let Carly go ahead, but thanks again, group 3. Loved all your feedback.
Yes, this is amazing. Really excited. And thank you all for hanging in there. We're going to wrap up here in a minute. We do have, I think, one more raffle prize to give away. But before we do that, I wanted to just revisit our next steps and our timeline. So as I mentioned, we will be going to a study session later this month, presenting the feedback we've heard tonight, and then also getting more input from some of the decision makers. After that, we will be getting to work on the plan updates themselves, incorporating your feedback, preparing design guidelines, and then we will be going back to the Planning Commission a couple times to get more feedback. We'll be also issuing an online survey, so be on the lookout for that. And that kind of summarizes where we're at. And we have multiple ways to keep in touch. So we really encourage anyone with more questions after tonight and through this process to email us. You can also subscribe for email updates at the website brentwoodplanupdates.com. So please do sign up for that and you'll be notified for future engagement. And our last raffle, for those who hung in there, thank you so much. I believe, let me go to my chat. It was Bruce Baird. Congratulations. You have a $50 gift card coming your way for some swag. So Alyssa will be reaching out to you directly.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Bruce.
I might take Chuck out to dinner. Who knows?
There you go.
Make certain it's downtown, though.
That's right. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate your comments and your questions throughout this. I think we can hang on for a little bit longer if anyone wants to stick around, but if not, have a wonderful rest of your evening.
And thank you, everybody.
Will there be, is there a website to go to see all of these things you presented this evening?
Yes, this will all be put on the website.
It's not on the website quite yet, but it will be within the week.
Yeah,
Thanks
give
for your
us.
patience.
Thanks, Sophie.
I do have a question, if you have a moment for a question.
Yes, Chuck.
2 questions. Both of them are surrounding Brentwood Boulevard, I guess. And that is that we were talking before we all got together as a group, sort of that little funky L we have in that thing. It's one of the few times you have a boulevard. It's like, 2 lanes or more each direction. You got to slow to 15 miles an hour. because you're going around it and so on and so forth. And I think it was at one time that was the only way they could solve a problem, and maybe that's still the only way they can solve a problem. I don't know. That seems kind of funky. I don't know of any major boulevards around in the Bay Area that are like that. The second question I have is it just territory, and that is, as we go from downtown on Brentwood Boulevard towards Discovery Bay, where is the city limit between Brentwood and whoever's next?
Mm-hmm.
The police station.
Yes,
The
thank
police
you.
station. Okay, all right. I know right where that is. I've got in there in handcuffs many times. So
Oh, no.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, that
Keep
helps me.
on.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I need to know. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck. No problem. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, it's a little tough for me because I'm a council member, but also at the same time, I was raised on Brentwood Boulevard my whole life. So I'll be honest with you, it's a little tough because I obviously would like to be more engaged in this discussion, but obviously my position, right? But my question is how have you guys reached out to that portion of the community in regards to bringing them to the table to have these type of discussions? I know, and I guess in a way I'm not asking how you've done that, but I would be more than willing to help host or put together a meeting with the residents that have lived in that community all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Not only the residents, but also local businesses that are operating that portion of the community that have been there since I was a little kid, right? I know a lot of the owners. So my thing is that how have we, and if not, I would be more than open on my other hat, which is a community organizer. I've been working with communities for about 29 years, is to be able to host something for you guys to come in. I'd also be willing to bring a group of youth that are from that community, that are born and raised on Brentwood Boulevard, and that are currently either middle school or high school students. I would be willing, you just give me a number of people and a number of students that you want, and I would make sure that I would host them myself and make sure that they're there and that you're able to ask them anything you want. I know currently I'm a council member, so I know that it's a little bit touchy, but I would excuse myself from the meeting itself and I would just let the residents speak. I don't need to be there, but I can make sure that the right people are there that would be willing to have this conversation with you, especially in a portion of the community.
So Johnny, I'm going to jump in just so we make sure we allow questions for other folks as well. This is thank you so much for that information. And we have done some really specific focused outreach to the business owners along Brentwood Boulevard, as well as we met with the Youth Commission. So city staff can follow up and see if we want to do some more outreach beyond that. But in the time, to keep things moving, let's see if there's any other questions. And again, thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Any other questions while we're here?
Wow.
And just so you know, I wanted to shout out Sophie has emailed so many different places for noticing for this. So beyond just like flyering, she's also emailed a bunch of faith groups and different businesses all across Brentwood Boulevard. So we are really trying to get as many folks as possible, but we love word of mouth. So that's probably the most effective way to get involved.
And we love getting the youth involved and that type of stuff. So the Youth Commission was great. But that's not to say we can't do more than that.
Yeah, and I think this is Cindy. I do believe this forum was really, really good to understand the plans and get some questions answered. And personally, now I am more comfortable spreading the word and actually engaging more of my neighbors. And really, I would really welcome possibly another one of these forums where we might have even more participation from the community. So, and it looks like it's somewhere on that schedule that Carla presented anyway. So I really appreciate everything you've done on this project so far. Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would love to second that. It was so well organized, and it was very well communicated as far as the different options. The pictures were really, really good, and good visual, which I'm a super visual person. The small groups, the breakout things were awesome too. It was great to talk to some community members that I recognize their names, and just to be able to share some of the ideas and things that we'd love to see our city become or do better at. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you.
I
Cindy.
agree. This was an outstanding open house. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate that.
But also don't hesitate to give us constructive feedback.
Yes.
We appreciate the reviews, but
We're
you know,
learning
we
every
wanna be able
time.
to do better.
Next time, I would like some food and drinks provided.
Oh, that's the downside with not having in person. I miss that.
We can have sip and scoop over, you know, at the park or somewhere, right, Vicki?
Outdoor, I like that. Okay, well, again, we really loved learning and hearing from you all. So you'll be hearing from us again. And please spread the word as you can. And have a wonderful night.
One last item.
Oh, yes.
Yes, if you are a raffle winner, please make sure to check the chat and send me your email. I'll also stay on if you need some time to do so.
Bruce and Cindy, Jovita and Carol, please make sure. We want you to have your prizes.
We might have lost them, but I think we can follow up with email. So we can find all of them. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.